Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm working on a panel that has seen better days. I've had a couple of paintings on there that I didn't like, so I decided why not reuse it. As much as possible, I tend to reuse my canvases or panels if things don't work out. I love panel and they're expensive. I try not to throw them away and I try to figure out how to best get use out of them. This is an 8x8 panel that I'm redoing the painting on, and sometimes I do a layer of burnt sienna or burnt umber on top of the painting, but today I decided no, I'm just going to go for it. I'm painting a woman from the Suri tribe, and in that specific tribe in Ethiopia, people have these gorgeous, elaborate headdresses that they make with things that they find in their environment, like plants and flowers. And as part of my process, I didn't really decide on how to do her headdress, so I had fun with it here. Going back to the painting, I am just laying down my shapes. I know it looks a little rough right now, especially with the older painting peeking through. It is confusing. For larger paintings, I would have done a nice wash, but I'm just going to wing it. And so, as always, I'm adding in my lights and my darks and trying to really just map out the shapes for myself. I'm just trying to look at where the light hits her face and how it bounces off the planes of her face. I listed my palette below, but just in case, I'm just going to talk about it. I like to use a very set palette for skin tones. I find that they have a really great range, and that's why I use the colors that I do. And one color that I find that I cannot live without is Venetian red, and I use it a lot for darker skin tones as well as lighter ones. So I'm going in and adding the lights. I'm not really pushing my contrast yet. I'm still just trying to lay in the foundation of the face. As you can see, I'm reworking certain areas just because, I'll be honest, the background painting is throwing me off a little bit. And I'm going in and adding the other eye, which is really useful, so I can now use it as a marker for the rest of the features of the face. It's important to have certain anchor points set in the face and to use them to measure how things relate to each other, especially on the human form. For me, once I establish the eyes and the ears, it's really much easier to finish my painting after that. Everything starts to make sense, and I know where to anchor the rest of the face in. Her eyes are really, really dark, and by that I mean not just her pupils, but the area surrounding the rim of her eyes. So the skin around the eyes is a little bit darker, and I want to punch that up a notch to really make her eyes hold your gaze. So I used a mix of burnt umber and ultramarine blue to darken up parts of the eyes that I wanted to give extra depth. For the lips, I wanted to make them reflect the foliage that she's going to have in her hair and not to really take away attention from the eyes. So I'm using a lot of the same colors on the lips that I did on the rest of the face. So I used a lot of alizarin crimson on her lips just to make it have a rosy feel, but I also toned that down so that it creates a more subtle effect. The failed painting as a background is driving me crazy, so I am going to do like a nice colorful, soft pastel sky, and I think that really contrasts nicely with the rich tones of her skin tone. And now that the background is less of a distraction, the face is so much easier because I'm able to see what I'm doing much better. So I'm going in and adding detail and adding definition to the nose and to the other features. When I paint dark skin, I like to use a lot of oranges, my favorite being cadmium orange. I find that it's a great highlight color, really easy to push into whatever I've laid in there, and it's a very believable shade that I'm adding to the skin tone. I'm going to go in and work on the headdress. Because I hadn't decided how I wanted to do this, I just kind of used a big glob of the top of the painting as the area that I wanted to explore. I wanted to really push the cool colors and the roses in there to contrast them to the skin tone. but I also don't want to give it too much detail. I want to give enough detail so that you understand there's something interesting going on, but I don't want to take away too much from the eyes and the face. And one thing that makes the headdress a little bit airier and not so heavy is adding a little bit of sky holes where you see that the headdress is not completely covering the area. Now that I have the sky and the headdress as context, I can go in and really tweak the face because now I know what to make darker, what to make lighter, where to enhance the colors. And so I really want to push the eyes and push some of the highlights because I feel like it got a little bit dark in there, especially with the lightness of the sky. So now is when I get to do all the finishing touches and the final adjustments, give the shoulders some more definition, give the clothing a little bit more definition as well, and finish up everything. We are done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.